Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sachse. It is Wednesday, August 26, 2020, coming to you live this morning from weather headquarters in Sachse, Texas. Okay, so every morning I've been doing a morning weather report for Sachse and a forecast for Sachse, and we will definitely do that, but we will also do a tropical weather update because Hurricane Laura is all anybody's talking about. So, with that, let's go right outside my house and see what's going on here. So currently the temperature is almost 79 degrees. Really clear skies here at the moment. Dew point 74 makes relative humidity 85%. The wind is out of the east southeast at 4. That will change, I promise you, here. And that makes the barometric pressure 29.85 inches and steady. That will go down, most likely. And that makes it feel like 87. So it already feels pretty humid out there, and that will only get worse, I can promise you. All right, so now let's go to satellite picture. Let's go to straight what everybody's talking about here. And as you can see, let me scroll up here a little bit. This is the last 3 hours overnight into the morning hours. And as you can see, Dallas Fort Worth obviously shows up pretty good there. Most of the clouds are, east of us right now, and that's going to change. You can kind of see them moving in. Now, here's the thing: for most of the morning, it's probably pretty nice, but then I think as the day goes on, the clouds are going to move on in, and thunderstorms start to bubble up a little bit, and we're definitely going to see some rain chances. I think the big question is how much rain are we going to see? So, and let me scroll down here a little bit. There you go. Get a little bit better picture of the hurricane. And as you can see, from the overnight hours, it's really gotten quite impressive. If you haven't heard, Laura is a Category 3 now, and that's a very formidable hurricane. At the 7 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center, it was at the maximum sustained winds were 115 miles an hour. I would imagine that's probably a little conservative now. It just seems to be gaining strength, and there is some thought that it'll be a Category 4 hurricane before it hits landfall. That's obviously would not be good news. So let's just go straight to Pacifics. And as you can see, Laura's the only thing in town in the Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, and Gulf of Mexico. So let's go straight to the specifics. So here's the 7 a.m. position. Like I said, maximum sustained winds 115 miles an hour. You can kind of see the track here. They are still expecting it to go really across the Texas-Louisiana border, probably after midnight. That's the next guess. Now, as I've said the last couple of updates, there's still some indication that it might take more of this track. Now, obviously as it gets closer to the coast, it's if we'll have a better idea, but that's still a possibility. That's why you see the hurricane warnings in red there. Include all of Galveston, all the way east over into Louisiana. So they're still trying to take that into account. Now, I will say too, the other thing that we kind of lose in situations like this is that this is just the center of the storm. The impacts of the storm are actually way more than just this one line. So that's something else that they're trying to get the message out, and that's the message I'm trying to get out as well. Is that you may have impacts like this, and you probably will. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that everything within those red lines are going to experience hurricane conditions, because that's just not going to be the case, especially as you get further inland. The storm's going to weaken pretty fast, but if you're right at the coast, it's probably going to be a devastating hurricane, unfortunately. So I did want to also point out. Okay, so this is the latest weather rainfall map, and for reference, everything you see in green is forecast to get an inch of rain or more. So just because you don't see any green close to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, although I guess you could argue that's pretty close, it doesn't mean it's not going to rain at all. It just means the forecast is that it won't rain an inch. Now, again, I think you're going to see this path, this rain core path, move a little further west as the storm gets a little further west. So the chances for rain for us are much better than they were this time Monday, but they're still not great. And obviously, the further west you are, the less chance you're going to see for rain, especially if you're west of I-35. You're not going to see much other than scattered storms, but that could change if it moves a little further west, which is what we hope for our rainfall chances. Now, this is an interesting map I wanted to show because this is actually wind field map, and of course you can see the position of the hurricane here. Everything within this black contour, the statistical analysis of it is that if you're within that black contour, you have at least a 5% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. Tropical storm force winds are, of course, winds 40 miles an hour sustained or greater. Now, look, I mean, for here in the Metroplex, I think the chances of seeing actual tropical storm force conditions from a wind standpoint are pretty remote. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't see, wind gusts 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, especially in a storm, and ultimately if a band pops up, because it's, there's going to be some wind energy momentum transfer to the ground, and that's where you're going to see some things like that. And so don't be shocked. I mean, like I said, we'll take some rain, number one, but don't be shocked if it's gusting wind kind of squally for a period of time. That's kind of what hurricanes do when they get into our neck of the woods. Now, I did want to go ahead and show you the radar, because there are some things out there that some showers and thunderstorms. Now, really, as you saw from the satellite picture, these aren't technically associated with Laura. There is a trough of low pressure that's right about here, and so you got this interaction with Hurricane Laura. With the trough, it's going to enhance thunderstorms, which is good news for us because we want some rain. But it doesn't guarantee everybody's going to get rain, but it does give us a better chance. So right now, some people were saying this is the outer band of Laura. No, it's not the outer band of Laura, but it is a situation where the atmosphere is primed, or going to be primed, I should say, later this morning and this afternoon for scattered showers and thunderstorms. And that's exactly what we hope, because we need some rain. Like I said, we don't want any of the devastation to happen down on the coast. Weaken enough, just become a rainstorm and everybody be happy. Okay, so with that, let's get back to Sachse in particular. So as far as the convective outlook for the country, thunderstorm outlook, obviously severe. As you can see, we're in the green today, so we're definitely expecting scattered thunderstorms, that's for sure. Now, of course, you see down in Louisiana, slight risks for severe thunderstorms, and then up a marginal risk up through the whole state. The one thing I haven't talked about this morning, which I'll briefly touch on, is as most of you know, tornadoes are, especially with strong hurricanes, tornadoes are very possible, spin-up tornadoes as we call them, on the northeast quadrant of the storm. With the forecast path of the storm, we're not expecting any of that here in North Texas. However, again, we have to watch the track of the storm, because if the storm were to move a little further west, which is not forecast to do, but if it was, then that's something else we'd have to watch out for. Now, the other thing, too, is when we get these, especially tomorrow, when we get these bands closer to the Metroplex, now, again, they'll probably be more east of us, but, they could rotate in. Just something to watch. I don't think it's anything to be overly alarmed about, but it's just something that just to keep in mind with landfall and hurricanes. I think our bigger threat, and I say threat in the sense that, look, I want it to rain. But if it does rain, it could storm, and it could be a little squally. So, just don't want to be totally surprised by that. So with that being said, so now let's look at the forecast. Now, you look at this forecast, you're like, Jeff, what the heck, man? I see nothing but sunshine. And so that's true, you do. Like today, you see isolated thunderstorms. I personally think that this forecast is a little underdone. I think if you look at the details of it, you're looking at about a 40% chance of thunderstorms today. Really, you'll probably see more of the same tomorrow. But it just, some forecasters, obviously, as this map indicates, aren't ready to bite off on that. I would much rather preach a rain sermon, if you will, that, hey, it's not going to do much, and it does more than we want, because I sure don't want to get everybody's hopes up to say, hey, you know what, we're going to get a lot of rain from this hurricane, and we don't. Because if you look at the statistical part of it, then, we're probably not going to. But hopefully we'll get something. So today, 91, tomorrow, 89, so temperature-wise, will be fine. But as you can see, like I talked about last week, or yesterday, backside of storms, sinking air, it's going to get hot. Now, the problem with that is not only is it going to be hot, but, Hurricane Laura is going to bring a lot of tropical moisture here. And even though Laura is going to move off to the northeast, she's going to let us keep all that moisture. Thanks, Laura. We appreciate it. And it's going to make it really hot, and you're probably talking heat indexes over 105 this weekend. So it's just, it's just not going to be a pleasant weekend from that standpoint. Hopefully we'll get some rain between now and then. It'll make it a little more tolerable. Now, yesterday I talked about, hey, there might be a glimmer of hope next week for a cool down, and as you can see, never mind. It's probably going to be warm most of the week. There's still a chance a pretty decent cold front might make it through, but now they're thinking it might not make it through, and the models are kind of showing that now. So we may have to wait just a little bit longer on that. So I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our theme of the day today. And, of course, today is scattered showers and storms, So I think that's a good way to look at what we're going to have today. As you can see, we talked about this all week. The further east you go, the better chance you have for rain. The further west you go, the less chance you have for rain. So I really think, we talk about I-35 east and west, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area being kind of the geographic boundary for a lot of our weather forecasts, and I think that will probably really be the case this today and tomorrow, because I think if you're east of there, you got a decent chance. If you're west of there, you don't have a decent chance. So the best chance we have for everybody to get a little bit of rain is for that storm to move a little further west. Now, I'm not hanging my hat on it, but hey, things have happened. So, and then lastly, of course, as far as the storm itself, and I'll go back to that real quick just to give you an idea of, you know, it's just it's almost mesmerizing to watch. Get that right there. And so, matter of fact, I think I can refresh this real quick and see if there's a latest picture here. But as you can see, overnight it had a pretty good eye. The eye's kind of been clouded over. So it doesn't mean it's weakening. It just means that there's a little bit of shear. But as you can see, there's a Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and clouds east of us and kind of creeping west. So you'll see a little sunshine this morning, and then be kind of cloudy, and hopefully get some showers later today. Well, a little long today, so but lots to talk about, which is kind of cool for August, because a lot of times we don't get a lot of chance to talk about cool stuff in August. Not that a hurricane's cool, it's not, but if it can give us some rain, then that would be great. Well, as always, I appreciate everybody watching, and of course, I'm watching the weather so you don't have to. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and let me give you my little sign off here. Yeah, thanks for watching. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.